3. Nigeria Info.
This is the Morning Crossfire, and you're welcome to the show if you're just joining us. We're counting down to the elections, 24 hours away in Kogi and Bayelsa State, and we're bringing you updates from those states today. A lot has happened in the past few days, gearing up to the elections tomorrow. We'll bring you up to speed with what has happened so far and what we expect tomorrow in those two states. Our correspondents are already in the field. They've been there for days now, moving around those states and gathering information, and of course they've been bringing us to speed. They'll also be joining us this morning. We have quite a number of reporters in Kogi State and in Bayelsa State as well, and from there they'll be feeding us with what's happening there. We intend to help you understand precisely accurate, timely information from those two states. As you follow us, we also have full coverage of that the elections tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, from morning till night. We're streaming live right now on Facebook. We're also on YouTube if you'd like to watch us, and you can leave us your comments and thoughts also on WhatsApp 08095975805. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. You're welcome to the show.
I'm Sheriff Quadry. Good to know that you are there with us. In case you would like to be a part of our conversation this morning, you should know that we have platforms. Our socials are there just so that we can have a robust conversation, a very thick engagement with you this morning on the program as we head into the elections in Bayelsa and Kogi. Today, we'll be doing the coverage starting from today. It started yesterday on Hard Fact with Sandra, and we're continuing today as well. Rotimi Sankore is here in the studio with us. Rotimi, are we ready for this?
That's sigh right there.
Nigerian elections. I mean, the Kogi is really the most bizarre. Violence broke out at the peace parley.
Put that piece in quotes.
Yes. So even before it was signed, one candidate was beaten up as she was turning up to join the signing.
As she arrived, yeah.
And at that venue, we had INEC leadership,
Right.
police leadership. The place was surrounded by all kinds of armed, uniformed people, and she was still beating up as she was arriving. And to the best of my knowledge, nobody was apprehended and charged, to demonstrate clearly that violence
Would not be tolerated.
I mean, if it happened there, how else do you want to encourage impunity than that? Than to say that a candidate that was beating up as she was arriving for the peace parley, that nobody was being arrested, that nobody has subsequently been arrested,
Right.
for the violence against her. I mean, it's just completely unacceptable. We keep complaining that Nigeria has the lowest percentage of female representation in parliament in Africa. And after the last election, Nigeria even dropped from 10th to 8th. Global, 8th lowest globally of women representation. And the court reinstated the SDP candidate. She turns up for the peace parley, and then she's attacked right there in front of the police and INEC leadership, and nobody has been arrested.
Well, let's talk about the number of policemen that will be involved in this election.
In both elections,
over
66,000.
35,000 in Bayelsa, over 35,000, over 31 in Kogi State. And the police emphasizes that this is not meant to intimidate voters, but rather to assure them that there will be protection. Do you really believe so? I mean, with gun-bearing policemen, remember that at the INEC office days ago, some policemen fired shots. They were meant to be queried yesterday. We don't know if that happened, but
they were testing their rifles.
So, what impression does this give?
They were excited.
They were excited and just started firing
According
into
to Philip, they were excited. They were chanting songs.
Right.
Like
imagine
show
that kind of
force.
lack of discipline.
Oh, So what does this tell us about what's going to happen tomorrow?
No, it's not going to be good news.
Well, we have someone also joining us on the show today. Senator Florence Itagiwa joins us on the show. Good morning, ma'am. Good to have you on the show.
Good morning.
All right. Let me ask you first about the Kogi State, about the assault on the female representative, Natasha Napoti, who also shared videos on social media about her secretariat that was assaulted, vandalized. So we have a female contesting for governorship in Kogi State. What do you think this means? People have said that one of the reasons women don't turn up for elections or to present themselves as candidates is the fear of violence. Do you think that women can still go through despite the violence that we already see erupting in these states?
Well, I think you are asking a wrong person this question because I believe that first of all, before a woman presents herself to politics, you would have had to conquer fear.
Right.
It's so unfortunate, because the men don't go out to vote. It's the women that are totally committed to the sustenance of democracy. It's the women that take all the advice, are taking, all the campaign, promises and all that. And then with the hope of the promises being actualized, they go out en masse to vote. So the women are actually the people that go out there. They are the chorus people that they use to campaign.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Subsequently, they are the ones that go out to vote.
Right.
Now, isn't it ironically that these women go out to vote and are unable to vote for someone of their own gender? And I tell women, because I've been through it. I did 4 elections in my lifetime. And I tell women that before you present yourself, you understand, you have to have conquered fear. Because these are all the intimidation that they use to drive women off the field.
Why should women be put through that process? Why should we as the male gender be instilling fear in the hearts of women? Shouldn't there be a level play field for everybody? That playground should be
there should
level.
Be a level play field, but unfortunately, politics has become like a war thing. I heard people as I came in here, I heard you talking about the number of policemen and all that,
Right.
And especially after Nigeria imbibed the selective syndrome, where the powers that we would have selected who they want to be. We were lucky at that time, that we conducted 99.
Because I was going to ask you how it was like during your time when you were first elected.
I said unashamedly that I had to go to war. Because I was not going to allow my people to be denied with all sense of modesty, that quality of representation.
You made up your mind that you were going to war.
Come whatever.
Tell us how you fought this war. So some of the things that we've seen, actually looks like, we're having elections. We look at other countries where people go to work, they just stop by to vote and continue their daily activities. So what tactics did you use, in this war? It looks, the show of force we even see from security agencies, somehow scares a voter.
I don't think I want to sit down here and talk about security agency taking sides, But first of all, it actually starts from the people. From the time you show your face as a woman, the intimidation starts that minute. Anything that would be done. And I realized that this was psychological intimidation. I went through worse things. I went through people shooting guns into where I live, into the compound.
Wow.
Yes, so that I live in Lagos, very cosmopolitan, so I just carry my bag and start running away.
Wow.
And I wasn't going to run away because I was fighting issues. I needed a platform to address the Bakassi issue. You understand? Maybe my own help because I went into politics with anger. You understand? I was angry over, the killing of Dele Giwa, the man that married me. I was angry at that time, House of Rep. I was angry over the way my Bakassi people were treated, not like human beings and all that. So anger helped me a lot. So because of that anger, I was able to defy all kinds of intimidation. You understand? And I also learned to intimidate myself too.
Wow.
Women have to learn to survive. Otherwise, you compromise yourself. Otherwise, you make yourself look weak. Otherwise, the men take advantage of you. You understand? And you just women. I tell women that if you are not strong, don't show your face.
You have done a lot.
You are talking to the wrong person. I don't believe in affirmative action.
Right.
In election because it's undemocratic.
Right.
If
right.
you want
right.
power,
right.
then you have
right.
to be ready
right.
to fight for what.
It's one thing to want to go into that space. It's another thing to get into that space and you look around and all you can see are just men everywhere. How did you handle that?
It's men everywhere. You know, the last election I did was so horrible. But I managed, can you imagine that a woman managed to be the only one that won the election from the entire south of Nigeria? So I was the only opposition. And I went to the Senate to meet 23 men from the north because the APP was predominantly a northern party.
Right.
So I went as the only female. And I would have thought that coming as the only female, I would get a position, any position that I wanted. And I come from the south because there was no presence of the party in the south.
Right.
But my dear, I had to go to court to become a deputy minority leader. You understand? I had to take Senate, I had to take my party to court to fight because they went and did some kangaroo election and came and announced. I said, no, that was totally out of order. So it is this fighting spirit, but that has to be anger. I've just come from election where the people almost lost their lives, so much injury, fighting.
Right.
You understand? For me, the young men that stood behind me. So what
So
was
you
I going
couldn't
to go to the Senate,
afford.
go there and play as a floor member? No. So I had to even the fight continued to the floor of the Senate.
You mentioned something about political parties and how you had to fight your way through some of those inequalities, even within the party. We see this currently playing out in Bayelsa right now. The APC, for instance, might not have a representative at the election tomorrow, depending on how it finally plays out. There are different court rulings, stay of execution order. So our political parties still find it hard to stick to the rules of the party themselves. If the party members within the parties, the various parties that we have, cannot stay by the rules, how do the people trust them?
Because of the same selective syndrome that Nigeria has imbibed. You understand? That will make a party, you know that you're going to lose that election because you cannot, because the powers that be in the system of that party had decided that B must be their candidate.
Right.
Whereas C is probably more popular. You understand? So it happened in my states. You understand? They couldn't, at the end of the day, there was no governorship candidate.
Oh, wow.
You understand? So they now allow the other party a smooth playing ground. It is that, that they fight within the party, which is most unfortunate.
If
There's
a party...
no more democracy. We have destroyed democracy.
Exactly. If parties don't have internal democracy, how can we rely on such party to have to demonstrate that democracy in a larger society such as states and the country? How can we trust that kind of party can hold the tenets of democracy so dearly and protect it?
No, I think, unfortunately, we will have to really, really struggle hard. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
To sustain democracy. Because what we have today is not democracy. What we have, Nigerians have imbibed, even worse than the military era, imbibed that selection syndrome where the party, the few people that now become what they call, I don't like to use that word because the cabal of the party, they sit down and select who is to go. So, and they're so blind because they believe that once you carry the name of the party, that's because every state, all politics is local, states,
right, absolutely.
You understand?
Absolutely.
So if you believe that, like say Kogi said it's APC, so they think that whoever they bring out the APC as a party would win that election. So somebody has his favorite candidates and puts that forward. There's no, if you go to primary election, there's no guarantee that you win. Sometimes I shudder to think what would have happened to me. You understand? If I'm in politics today, what more war I would have fought, because at the time that I joined politics and started contesting election, there was democracy. Nigerians were very, very serious and anxious to sustain that democracy. So everybody was given a level playing ground. I came from a PDP state and I was APP. You understand?
Right.
And the leadership of the state, everybody was PDP. And I was the only one of a few people that came out as APP. But because, of democracy and people being given the right to choose who they wanted, I won the election and defeated PDP in a PDP state.
Before we head back to Rotimi and to our correspondent who'll be joining us from Kogi and Bayelsa, you arguably are one of those women who have pushed through the political space. A question that people have asked in terms of female participation. You've said you don't believe in affirmative action. If you want it, you go for it.
Yeah.
A big question on the table for female politicians has always been support and mentoring.
Yes.
You know, we find men supporting men.
Yes.
You find what we call godfathers, and we hardly find women who
Yes.
stand in these roles for women to support them and, you know, give them trainings and tactics and how to go about it. What are you doing in your capacity?
I did that, and you know, I did in Pakistan. I produced a female local government chairman, and in a local government that I have championed the cause, virtually did everything. We virtually had to go to war on the high sea for that, because I would have thought that, okay, I'm the leader of this place, you understand? So I want this girl to be local government. No. You understand? So I've taught my girls to go into the creeks.
Right.
You understand? Despite we had to unfortunately make friends with even the militants in the creek and all that say that freedom fighters. So I taught my girls how to fight that war where I come from in Calabar, Crossfire State, Bakassi local government, how to go into the creek. I have a girl who just did election. She's a doctor, you know, studying to be a neurosurgeon, but she's also passionately interested in politics. She can go at 12 midnight in the canoe and go to the creek. I've also produced a girl who became the chief whip of the state assembly.
Oh, wow.
I mean, for now, that's as far as I've managed to go locally.
That's impressive.
But locally, in my state, the women are very, very strong.
That's
because
impressive.
I told them that there's no other way.
Rotimi, let's head back to Kogi issues. I mean,
Sorry,
and Bayelsa.
Please, just pardon me. Senator Itagua, I admire your warrior spirit. But please, back to this matter of affirmative action.
Yes.
As someone that supports affirmative action myself, I'm curious to know why you think it is not necessary, given how much, you know, the dice is loaded against women candidates.
You know, the affirmative action with me is something that I don't totally support. You understand? With amendments, I always call it, I'm a lawmaker, so I say with amendments. Affirmative action
You partially support it.
I support appointments. You understand? I support appointment, and left to me
50-50.
35%, 50%. You understand? But in election, it is very, very undemocratic for you to sit down in your house and because you're a woman and you come and say, okay, come and go to Senate to represent. Who elected you? And if you get to Senate, you understand? If you get to that, you know, arena, you will not have a voice because they'll be asking who elected you. Even look at the Constitutional Conference. Those that were selected, the two conferences, there's some people that would be selected. I had to consider the people that were selected to go to the conference. If there's a debate and an argument starts, you get up and say, okay, on whose behalf are you talking? Did you win election to be here? So women must be strong so that they can have a strong voice. I believe that it really, you know, showcases women as being very, very weak. So you couldn't even contest election. You don't have money.
It was
to
handed
contest
over.
election. And then they pick you and you go there. Who are you representing? It's very undemocratic. Appointment should be 50%. But if a woman wants to contest election, my dear, you face it the way it is. And go,
Even at the primary level.
Yes, of course, you know, at the primary election.
It should be fair and everyone should contest elections.
Because you men will take advantage of those women. You know the number of men, and I'm saying this openly, that would ask, okay, you will not contest election, but see me later.
Wow.
You take advantage of the girls. The girls will take advantage.
So better if they come in the open and contest
Absolutely,
with the males
find your money,
get
find
it.
your energy.
Right.
But many girls that, you know, emerges without that contest would have been invited to so many rooms.
Wow. Senator Florence Itagiwa, we thank you so much for joining the Morning Crossfire today. She's also heading over to Cool FM, our sister station, to continue conversations with Nigerians here. But this conversation continues on this side as we head over to Kogi and Bayelsa to bring you updates from there. Rotimi Sankore is still here with us in the studio. Our correspondents are there all over and they'll be telling us what's happening live right now. Rotimi, we have court orders on the table. APC might not be contesting the elections tomorrow. However, they have secured a stay of execution order. If this holds, INEC has already said we can't remove their names from the ballot paper. It's way too late. INEC seems to be... Actually, is INEC in a corner on this one?
Yes, INEC is in a corner because INEC has said that for what the chairperson has described as last-minute court orders, that they are unable to substitute the ballot papers, and what will happen is that if a particular party and candidate are disqualified, that the votes for that candidate will just be voided, But it creates a bigger dilemma, which is that what if a scenario emerges in which the voided candidate got more votes than the other person,
right,
that came in quote second but now declared winner? Does it create a crisis of legitimacy? So the courts have not thought a lot of these things through properly.
Right.
Because when you find a scenario in which one judge disqualifies a candidate and within 24 hours the appeal court, says stay execution.
It's quite dicey.
I mean, people will start looking at the judiciary and wondering what is
Stay
happening.
execution till when?
dicey.
Till after the elections? If the court then looks at the case and said this candidate shouldn't have been a part of the election, what does INEC do? They nullify all of the votes for that candidate?
Well, the stay means that the candidate should continue.
Everything continues
as usual.
Yeah.
Right? And then if there is a ruling afterwards either way, then that will be the decision of at least the appeal court. I can see this going all the way to the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. Let's go over to Kogi now. Judges McNobson is standing by there. If you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube right now, you should be able to see Judges in a moment. Judges, good morning.
Good morning, Wemimo.
Welcome. What's the climate like in Kogi right now?
Well, the place is peaceful. The people are going about their usual business, their normal business, and but we are on the street trying to do a vote pop on whether they will go out tomorrow and vote. But before this call came in, however, the event of yesterday basically was that INEC received the sensitive material and distributed it to all the VAC centers in the local government. This was actually done in the presence of the security agencies and the political parties. And then the other event that happened yesterday was the final briefing of the security agency of the police. And at the briefing, they told the people about their readiness to ensure that the election is violence-free, and that the people will be protected and that they will be safe. And we also want those people that are interested in fomenting trouble, or perhaps that will want to create violence during the elections, to desist from it, or they will meet their Waterloo. Then, but another incident happened yesterday at the mega rally of the.
Hello, Judges.
Hello.
Yes,
go
ahead,
on, Judges. Go on.
So at the mega rally of the APC, where someone was actually stabbed to death, and the person that stabbed the person was also mobbed and burned to death.
Oh, wow.
And that actually, the interesting thing about it is that the publicity, the information lady of the campaign of the APC, the campaign organization of APC, was on the podium and was actually calling on the police to go and see what is happening there. But to the surprise of everybody, none of the police personnel actually moved to that place. So that tells us so much about what to expect tomorrow.
Judges, we have over 31,000 policemen deployed to Kogi State. Yet you said there was such an incident. There were police officers on ground and none of them moved to take control of that situation. Have you heard anything from the police boss about this? Do they?
No, we have not. We have not. But we will be going to the police headquarters today to get to ask them why they did not move in time, at least to save that guy that was there, that actually committed that crime. The guy that stabbed someone to death was the person that was mobbed to death. He was actually attacked by some supporters. They beat him up with slangs, with stones, and they dragged him to the back of the stadium where they actually bumped him to death.
Oh, good.
Judges, what I want to know is this. The stabbing, it took place at the campaign ground itself, not at the back of the stadium.
No, the stabbing actually took place outside at the entrance of the stadium.
Okay.
So, and the guy that stabbed the person ran into the stadium where the rally was taking place.
Okay.
So, unfortunately for him, he met the supporters and the friends of the person he actually stabbed, because some people were chasing him from outside into the stadium. So they caught him inside the stadium, dragged him, beat him up, and with slangs, with all sorts of things. Actually, what the initial thing they did was to collect the knife he used in stabbing that person. They used it in stabbing him, and but the knife did not pierce his body. The knife did not go into his body. So they thought that, so you have charm to prevent this kind of thing. So they used slangs, stones, and all sorts before they drag him to the back of the stadium and they burnt him.
Did the rally stop or pause while all of this was going on?
No, the rally actually, that incident actually affected the rally a bit, because after that incident, while the incident was happening, everybody from inside the stadium ran out. They started rushing back to their various homes. But after like 30-45 minutes, the supporters started coming in again. Everybody went into the stadium. After this time, the governor has not come, the first lady has not come, and the APC bigwigs were not there at that time. But they came later and the rally commenced. And the rally did not last for 2 hours.
Thank you very much, judges, for this update. Please stay safe. We'll get back to you again for more updates. Thank you so much, Judges McNobson. I would also be speaking shortly with Philip Nweli, who's also standing by in Kogi State. He'll be telling us more updates from the other side of town, but that will be after this break. Rotimi Sankore is still here with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Facebook, YouTube at Nigeria Info FM. Let's know what you think. I am Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sheriff Quadry.
Yeah, when two lives are lost,
Yeah.
We'll be back shortly.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
your number one talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
This is the Morning Crossfire 99.3 Nigeria Info. Looking at information from the Annex website, let's remind you that Kogi State has a total of 23 governorship candidates and also 23 deputy governorship candidates. Bayelsa State initially had a total of 45 governorship and deputy governorship candidates respectively. But if you then look at what's been going on back and forth, we don't know how many names will finally be on that ballot tomorrow. But the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja disqualified David Leon, who is the governorship candidate of the APC. However, Inyang Eko, the presiding judge, nullified David Leon's nomination as a party's flag bearer in the election over failure to field a qualified deputy governorship candidate in the election. This is majorly due to the fact that Bio Parakuma Degi Eremeyo, this APC deputy governorship candidate, gave false pieces of information to INEC for the upcoming November 16 election. The disqualification of APC's deputy governorship candidate is a result and effect of a suit filed by the PDP, which sought for his disqualification. This makes it the third time this year that APC would not field a governorship candidate in an election. Remember that these also happened in Rivers and Zamfara states during the 2019 general election. But there's also a court ruling which set aside or cancelling or annulling the nomination of this defendant Leon as governorship candidate. It calls for status quo to be maintained. It's a stay of execution order. So we're waiting to see what INEC will be doing on this. Let's go back to Kogi State, where correspondent Philip Nweli is standing by. If you're watching us right now on Facebook and YouTube, you'll be able to see Philip joining us from Kogi. Philip, good morning.
Good morning,
What part of
Wemimo.
Kogi are you right now? What's happening there?
Well, I'm in Lokoja, Kogi State, and where I am is the popular Paparanda roundabout here in Lokoja, the state capital. You see, what the latest I can say now is that beginning from today, the security details of political office holders and politicians will be withdrawn ahead of tomorrow's election. That's what we were told yesterday, just to ensure that they do not use them to intimidate voters. Also, there have been a concerns raised by the PDP as to the deployment of former aide camp to the state governor, that's the person of Usman Shugaba, to the INEC headquarters to supervise the distribution and affairs at the INEC headquarters. So yesterday, the DIG operations for Kogi and Bayelsa State cleared the air. It said the state police commissioner erroneously deployed that guy to that place, and that they've turned the deployment around. They posted another person there. So that issue has been settled. PDP had raised concern that it's part of measures for the ruling party here in the state to, compromise the election. There is also concern about security around Kogi State. You see, as long as the police has given us assurance that they are in charge, there's also INEC has said that they are prepared for this election. But, civil society groups are worried that in the past, despite these assurances, that you still see some level of compromise when matters amount from the security personnel who tend to look the other way. So we want to test how neutral the security personnel are tomorrow, and to see how they will be able to check those that intend to foment trouble to make the election not go as planned.
Personnel, Philip, can you tell us, are they visibly present on the streets of Kogi, talking about security personnel? What is the number like?
Yes, they do. There are 30,021, if I'm right, from the figure he gave us yesterday for Kogi State. And if you see all over the town, you could see the presence, you feel their presence. They are everywhere. Occasionally, they release gunshots into the air just to tell people or warn possible troublemakers that they are on ground and they are ready for any action to ensure that there's peace in the state.
Released a code of conduct for the officers that will be covering this election tomorrow. Can you give us a brief of what that code of conduct is like? Remember, there was some firing days ago, which the police boss stepped in to look into that case. If we have policemen then firing into the air in a show of force, I mean, it goes two ways. It could scare the potential troublemakers, but it could also scare voters. What's the code of conduct like? What's a summary of that code of conduct for working during the elections?
Well, the summary is to, let the police, from what the DIG operations, Abdul Majid Ali said, is that the police will conduct their affair in line with laid down principles. So he said that they've done assessment tests on, possible trouble spots, and that they did their deployment based on the investigations they did or the assessments they did. So that code of conduct will ensure that the police personnel are professional, they are firm, and that they are thorough when the need arises. That's just the summary of what it is. They are ready for anything, and they are set to go. Very soon, I don't know whether you can see, you will see one of the vehicles or some of the cars they are doing. This is part of what they do. They are just driving past me now. What they are doing is a show of force to tell people that they are in town, they are ready for any action. You could see a convoy of police personnel from civil defense, the military, the navy, and all. If you see them behind me, they are just driving past me now. They are still coming. You could just see them, and it's all over. And the way it is in town, they know that the police is fully on ground and they are ready for any action, for any event.
So much for talking to us. We'll get back to you because we need updates as we go into the elections.
Sorry, Quadry.
Yes.
Sorry, before I leave, I want to state that people who intend to travel travel to Abuja or to Enugu through or any other part of Nigeria through Kogi State should do that before midnight today, because the borders within Kogi State will be shut down and movement will not be allowed from midnight today to 4 p.m. on Saturday.
So much for that update. If you are planning to travel, well, calculate the time. If you can still get through in time, well, good for you. If not, you might want to stay back or go through another route. Philip Oweli, thank you so much for the update, and please stay safe. We'll get back to you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kogi State right there. Rotimi, you heard the sirens, you saw the vehicles driving past. Show of force. We are here. Over 31,000 policemen deployed.
Well, like we were saying earlier, I would have preferred that show of force resulted in the arrest of the people that beat up the SDP candidate as she was arriving for the peace rally. This, driving around with loud sirens, generally intimidating everybody, both potential voters, potential troublemakers. Because once it looks like a state of war, what's going to happen is that the voter turnout will drop.
There's an argument.
Absolutely.
And I really don't know where I fall on this one, but there's a big argument about the police using live ammunition when covering elections. Some people would say those who intend to steal ballot boxes also come with live ammunition and they might be shooting at the police, so they need to be able to retaliate. Others would say that shooting at people, there must be other ways that you can disarm them without killing or maiming them. What do you think the police should do? Actually, they have live ammunition, so like they can change it right now. But going forward, what should we be looking at?
When it comes to elections in Nigeria, the overall prep, the overall run-up, the overall context, the conditioning, all those things have to be reviewed, and that's why a lot of people are calling for electoral reform. What is at stake in terms of resources and things needs to be reduced or nullified. In other words, the overall strategy is more important. this question of whether policemen should be armed on the day, I mean, those are tactical issues, and those are, that's not the big issue. The big issue is, for instance, how does the federal government propose the refund, in quote, of 10 billion naira 2 days to an election? Those are the kind of things that generate the violence. Because all the thugs, all will be like 10 billion.
Money has landed.
10 billion. Hey, that there is no way they are going to be left out of this.
Right.
And that if it is one party that is getting it, in fact, it is quench. Either that party wins or nothing is going to happen in that kind of place. Those are the big strategic issues, And once the electoral reform is such that that kind of scenario is made impossible, then the level of violence will drop, and you won't have this kind of question as to whether the police should be carrying armed ammunition
during elections.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's head to Bayelsa quickly. We have a correspondent standing by there. Joshua Rogers is on ground in Bayelsa. Joshua, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How is Bayelsa this morning? Where are you standing in Bayelsa, and what's the mood in preparations for the elections tomorrow?
The mood, as of last night, people were very anxious. There was tension because they didn't know what they would believe. In one breath, they would tell them that the court has asked the APC not to participate in the election, and in another breath, they will tell you that an appeal court has just given an injunction that they should stay execution of the earlier court order. Up to this morning, people are still waiting for what will happen until tomorrow comes, as when the people will know if actually they have the APC on the ballot or not.
That puts everyone in a very tight spot. I mean, you're not sure if your preferred candidate would be on the ballot or not, if you should actually go for the elections or not. What is INEC saying about this?
Yeah, INEC in Bayelsa here called for a press briefing as at 2 p.m. yesterday, and we waited till about 2:45, and then they sent a text message that the briefing has been cancelled, no date was given, no reason was given. But shortly after, we heard that INEC in Abuja had said that any vote cast for the APC would be an invalid vote. But while that news was still trending here in Yenagua, then the APC called for a press briefing again and said that an appeal court has just asked for a stay of execution. So that is the situation for now. People are confused. The APC definitely, from what INEC has said, the name of the APC will be on the ballot. Whether they will vote, it will count or it will not count is what they don't even know for now.
There are
we'll get back to.
There are about 45, candidates that should be on on the ballot tomorrow. What's the mood with the other candidates? Are they glad that it's -1? I mean, the competition might just be a bit, easier for them.
I was having a conversation with the government candidate of the UDP at the INEC office, and he was like, he was not contesting the election because they already adopted the APC candidate. So he was disappointed after that court election yesterday. So for a couple of them who have adopted the APC as their preferred candidate and asked their supporters to vote for the APC, it was disappointment. But for those who still believe that there are the third force to reckon with, someone like the Accord Party, Bizimo, still believes that with the court ruling, he has an opportunity right now to contest with the PDP. But the PDP thinks they don't have any opposition because the APC is out of the way.
Let's talk about preparations, technicalities of the elections. Joshua, what can you tell us about distribution of sensitive and non-sensitive materials for the elections tomorrow?
That has been done, distributed to the 8 local government areas. They have 105 wards and about 1,800 and something polling units. Here we have the voters, those who are registered to vote, about 923,000. But not up to that collected their PVC. So INEC has said that they are ready. Everything has been distributed. As a matter of fact, that was one of the reasons why INEC would not be able to pull out the name, to delete the APC from the ballot, because everything has been done. Everything. They are just, as at yesterday, even at the INEC office, they were training people on how to use the smart card, make sure that the smart card readers are working very well. They were at that point. They were ready. They said they are ready. And from what I have seen on ground here, they have done everything almost seamlessly. No issues.
If INEC is saying they are ready, we have to let you go now. But before then, let's talk about whether people are ready. A couple of days ago, there were reports of shootings at a rally, and about 3 people lost their lives. How would you describe the readiness of the people themselves? It's being said that this might lead to voter apathy. People might want to decide to stay back at home once they've seen the signal that, people are even getting shot some days to the election. What will now happen on the election day? What can you tell us about the mood, the mindset, the readiness of the people to come out tomorrow to vote in Bayelsa?
Frankly speaking, Mr. Sheriff, I will tell you that even me as a journalist, I want to come to Bayelsa to cover the election. If I had followed what people told me, I would not be able to make it to Bayelsa State. Because I called a few persons, like my fixers, to make sure that, to find out how the place was. 3 out of about 7 persons I called told me they moved out of Bayelsa, 2 moved to Port Harcourt, 1 to Akwa Ibom State, because they were afraid that this election wasn't going to be easy.
Wow.
That it was that serious. But up until yesterday, when that judgment came, not that they were happy that one political party wasn't going to be on the ballot or wasn't going to contest the election anymore, but a couple of them who are not so interested in politics believe that that will pave way for some kind of peace during tomorrow's election. That was how bad that situation was before that court judgment came. So for them, the court judgment is giving them some kind of relief that, okay, fine, tomorrow may not be as tough as we thought it would be.
Well, all is not over yet. If that stay of execution is upheld, that means they will be on the ballot and all will just go. Although the PDP insists that the APC must not be on the ballot. So it's quite a situation rather than Bayelsa. Joshua, thank you so much for the update. Please stay safe for us. We'll get back to you with for more updates. Thank you, Joshua.
Sure. All right, take care.
Joshua Rogers there standing by for us in Bayelsa and go up precisely with updates. Let's head to the phone lines. Man, it's going to be such a day tomorrow.
This is really,
wow.
Incredible live video reporting by Nigeria Info.
Right.
Even better than TV.
Right.
Loud it. I like that.
Seriously.
Guys, if you're not watching us on Facebook and YouTube, you're missing out on so much.
Nigeria Info, digital, everywhere, Lagos, Nigeria, Africa,
all over.
Incredible stuff.
Make sure you follow us right now so that you don't miss out on any of the action.
It's never been
tomorrow.
Done before.
Absolutely.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah,
we've not even started the full coverage.
You watch out tomorrow. The coverage starts at 7 a.m. So we're going all in tomorrow. Let's give you the phone numbers if you'd like to join us right now.
Call us on 0127709993, 0127719993, 0127729993, and 0127739993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
2 states, 2 destinies, 2 jobs, and the huge weight of expectation from over 1 million voters will help define the governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states. And Nigeria Info will be right there through the campaign, election day, and the announcement of results. Join Nigeria Info's 360 coverage of the polls from 8 a.m. on Saturday, the 16th of November, and Sunday, 17th of November. Our team of reporters will provide live interviews and feeds on radio and social media platforms, all in real time. Nigeria Info, your #1 news, talk, and sports station.
Yes, your #1 sports news and talk station. Right now, let's head to the phones and see who's there. Remember, the first number 012770993 is for female callers.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Sheriff Biden.
Good morning.
Okay, I got it. Now, I want to understand something. The judgment of the High Court in Bayelsa, was it yesterday?
Yes, it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday morning.
Was it the same yesterday that the another court
appeal court?
Appeal court. So they appealed that same yesterday.
Yes, they did.
And the judgment was given that same yesterday.
Yes, it was.
Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
we leave it to your imagination. What is going on?
You know what I just want to say. Judiciary is just a problem in this country. I'm very sorry to say.
Thank you for calling us.
Judgment in the morning and also appeal in the afternoon and give a judgment that same day. And so many cases are lying in the court and they are not doing anything about it.
Oh, wow.
So many poor people's cases are lying in the court. Very bad.
This was probably an emergency, or what can we say? On Facebook, a very interesting comment here from Machiavelli. Ifedigbo says, "Good morning, guys. I'm Eze from Lekki. Hitler invaded Poland with less than 25,000 soldiers, and we are deploying 31,000 policemen for electoral purposes plus army." He puts 3 laughing smileys there.
Hello, good morning.
Please try again.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Wemimo, Sharif, and
Rotimi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You were talking to Jonathan. You said probably this one is an emergency. This case is not an emergency. But
Well.
anyway, it's good. I am from Kogi State, and I've been getting information from Kogi State. I mean, on a regular basis, as in more like day to day. And you know what the feelings, what you get, the report you get from your man there. Now let me just take you to places like Ayimba, where the APC, let me use the word, the deputy will say I shouldn't use it, but I'm telling you what people are telling me from Kogi State, that those guys are prepared to rain hell on Kogi State and voters. That is the information we get. And you see young men with thugs, with guns, moving around, walking past policemen. So you was saying something about, if you say the police was showing show of force earlier, how come they've not been able to apprehend or arrest those that beat up the SDP candidate? So this is what we are talking about. There's no sign to bring about peace and justice to the people of Kogi State, or real governance to the people of Kogi State. And it's such a very unfortunate situation.
Thank you too for
show
calling.
of force, yet people have died in both states. I mean, days before the election.
Right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Sharif.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm calling from Surulere. This is Austin.
Welcome, Austin.
Okay. So, look, it does not stand to question the essence of the police in the whole exercise. If the IG, we are talking of the number 1 policeman of the country, being in a party which was supposed to be a peace forum, and there violence was meted even to one of the candidates of the election. Up till now, as we speak, nothing has been done. Okay, then your man just reported to us, judges, from what transpired in Kogi, in a stadium where you are supposed to have all the security personnel, and nothing happened. Does it not bother you? Does it not stand to question what is the essence of the police deploying 60-something thousand policemen for the election? So if it is not to provide security, then it means that there's some other motive for deploying the police. Does it not stand to reason? My brother, I'm scared.
Austin, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate your time. We need to run now.
Yes, we do. I mean, there's so many questions to answer, but don't worry. We'll be here live tomorrow, remember, from 7 a.m. all day, all night. We'll be here on Sunday also until all the results are in from both states. Our correspondents are there all over in both states to give us live coverage. We must go now, but we thank you all.
Can we advertise Public Square, 4 p.m.
Yes,
today?
yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
The presidential tribunal, the reasons,
Right.
The
The
Supreme Court
details.
reason.
the details
Of the
for that
ruling.
judgment.
Yeah.
If we have it, you will get the first and best analysis at 4 p.m.
Right.
on Nigeria Info today.
The details should be released today, anytime
Right.
from now. If
Right.
it is, well, then join Public Square. Whether it's released or not, there's always something up on Public Square. We must go now. Rotimi, thank you very much.
Thank you.
A big thanks to all our correspondents across the states giving us updates from there. We'll be back tomorrow morning. It's Saturday, yes, but 7 a.m. we start the broadcast election coverage. We thank Zainab Yakin, Tosi Akiride, Yvonne Ohaifo for all assisting. I am Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sharif Quadry.